Have you ever unwrapped a gift on your birthday or at Christmas time and felt that twinge of disappointment when you realized it wasn't the thing you'd been hinting about for weeks? Maybe you'd dropped subtle clues or even come right out and mentioned the item you coveted, only to watch with a mix of gratitude and frustration as your friend or family member handed you something entirely different, something they thought you'd like but which missed the mark. You force a smile, say, "Thank you so much," and tuck the unwanted present away in a closet or drawer, partly ashamed of your own misdirected hopes, yet still wanting to honor the giver's goodwill. It's a strange little dance we all know too well. The giver delights in having given, the receiver must delight in having received, and in the space between, there's a small layer of polite pretense. That same pattern often shows up in our most intimate relationships, where the stakes feel higher and the signals we send and receive can be even more easily misread. Imagine that instead of an actual object exchanged in a ribboned box, the gift is an act of genuine pleasure shared between partners, an experience you've longed for but haven't clearly described. Your spouse presents this gift in the bedroom, believing it to be the perfect gesture of affection, only to discover your enthusiasm is muted. You hesitate to interrupt or criticize because you know they've tried and you value their effort. Yet in your heart you crave something different, a nuance they have yet to discover. You smile, you nod, you let them finish, afraid that by voicing your true needs, you might deflate their confidence or sow seeds of shame. So you stay silent, and they keep guessing, and both of you settle for a performance that neither truly enjoys. Now picture an alternative scenario. Instead of silently tucking that unwanted gift away, you stop your partner and say, "Thank you, this is sweet, but I actually had something else in mind. Could we try it this way?" You guide their hand or describe the sensation that excites you. You watch their face light up as they hit the mark for the first time, realizing they've unlocked a brand new way to connect. Instead of duty-bound compliance, you share an adventure of discovery. Both of you feel seen, both of you feel empowered, and both of you learn that the real joy of giving comes not from serving your own idea of a perfect present, but from responding to your partner's deeper desires. This kind of candid exchange is the cornerstone of fulfilling intimacy. It begins with recognizing that even in the most passionate, hopeful moments, we are prone to assumptions. We assume we understand what our loved one needs, or we worry that asking for something specific might sound too demanding. We might worry about being judged or about making our partner feel inadequate. Yet it's far kinder, more loving, and ultimately more satisfying to break through that fear and simply speak. "Could you try a little softer there? I really like it when you... That tickles a little. Can you press here instead?" These small phrases, traded with vulnerability and care, become the tools with which you craft unforgettable experiences together. Think back to the last time you felt genuinely appreciated and understood by someone you care about. Remember the warmth that washes over you when they echo back your unspoken needs and desires, not because they read some mysterious manual, but because they took the time to listen, really listen. That feeling, multiplied by physical pleasure and emotional resonance, can turn an ordinary moment into something transcendent. It's less about technique and more about attunement, tuning into the subtleties of your partner's breathing, the colors of their skin, the changes in their rhythm. It's about responding to those micro clues until you hit the sweet spot, whatever that might be for them. And yes, this takes practice. You won't always nail it on the first try, any more than a chef masters a new cuisine at a single attempt. But each effort, each attempt to offer a better gift builds trust. You learn not to be defensive when given feedback, and your partner learns to ask for what they truly want. Over time, this mutual openness becomes second nature. What once felt awkward or fraught with embarrassment blossoms into a playful, adventurous conversation without words, a series of guiding touches, sighs, moans, and whispers that maps out your partner's unique terrain of pleasure. Of course, life complicates things. Work stress, the demands of kids or extended family, health ups and downs all. These can throw a wrench into your best intentions. You might find yourselves rushing through intimacy, opting for routine over discovery because it feels safe and familiar. But if you fall back into that pattern, you risk slipping back into the land of half-hearted gifts, polite smiles, and polite silences. To keep the spark alive, each partner must recommit regularly. "I want to learn more about you today," you say, either aloud or in the way you look at them. And the other replies in kind, open, and trusting. At its heart, this kind of communication is an act of love. It says, "You matter to me more than my pride, more than my comfort, more than my habit." It clears away the polite facade, the unspoken grievance of, "You aren't reading my mind," and replaces it with a shared mission, to delight and to be delighted. When you both master this dance of giving and receiving, this unwrapping and rewrapping of intimate gifts, the results can transform a relationship from functional into electrifying, from predictable into passionate, and from dutiful into joyous. So the next time you feel that familiar twinge of doubt, wondering if perhaps your partner missed the hint tree, a different response. Stop the silent disappointment. Invite them into the conversation. Offer your own hands to guide theirs. Thank them for caring enough to try, and then tell them exactly what will make you smile, sigh, or let go completely. In doing so, you'll discover that the greatest reward in intimacy isn't merely the glory of the final climax, but the shared journey of learning to delight each other, one richly tailored gift at a time. We all remember that first spark of romance, the excitement of exploring uncharted territories of pleasure with someone who seemed to understand our every fluttering heartbeat and breathy sigh. But in truth, even in the most passionate moments, we rarely arrive with a perfect mind reader's skill. Instead, we learn, we discover, we refine. And the single greatest tool in that lifelong project is simple, honest, ongoing conversation. Without it, two well-meaning partners can spend years assuming they know exactly what turns the other on, only to find themselves stuck delivering the same good enough performance over, and over while deeper cravings and secret longings pile up unseen. When you talk about what you love, why you love it, and what tiny shift might take you from pleasant to mind-blowing, you unlock a dynamic that transcends rote technique and transforms intimacy into a shared adventure. Imagine two musicians jamming without ever tuning their instruments or listening for each other's tempo. They might stumble into a few happy chords, but the true magic comes only when they lean in, adjust their pitch, and match each other's rhythm. In the bedroom or wherever you choose to connect, the same principle applies. It starts with permission, the unspoken agreement that you and your partner are safe to speak up, safe to ask for more, safe to say, "That's not quite it," and safe to celebrate a perfect note when it happens. At first, these confessions can feel awkward. Why risk awkwardness? Because without it, you're relying on guesswork. And guesswork often defaults to the most familiar patterns, the same 5 or 10 moves you've already mastered. Meanwhile, the secret corners of your desire map go unexplored. To get started, set aside a few moments before any intimate encounter, no screens, no distractions, and simply ask, "What's on your mind tonight? What would make this time together feel special?" You might be surprised by the answers. A fantasy, a touch that's never been tried, or even a want as gentle as eye contact during an embrace. Share your own desires too, whether they're rooted in physical sensation, a particular angle, pressure, or speed, or emotional connection, words whispered in your ear, playful teasing, or a moment of total silence. Use I statements to own your needs. "I love it when you," or "I'd like to try." This framing avoids blame or critique, focusing instead on the positive outcome you both want. Next, learn to listen actively. Notice how your partner's breathing changes when you ask a question. Watch their pupils dilate when you describe something exciting. Pay attention to micro-expressions, an eyebrow that lifts, a quick smile, a shiver that ripples down their spine. These unspoken cues often guide you faster than words alone. When they say softer, hear it. When their hand drifts closer to your own pleasure zone, follow it. Encourage them to give feedback at every stage, not just the grand finale. If a certain stroke feels divine, ask, "More of that?" If something misses the mark, offer, "That's interesting. Can you show me what you meant?" You'll find that practicing this two-way dialogue becomes almost second nature. Your fingertips become language, and their responses become punctuation marks in an ongoing conversation of trust and discovery. It helps to create a playful environment where experimentation is celebrated. Praise your partner whenever they nail a new move. That was incredible. Never felt anything like that. Or even a simple, enthusiastic moan. Positive reinforcement builds confidence, making them more eager to listen and learn next time. Likewise, when you explore a technique that doesn't quite hit, frame it as part of the journey. Nice try, let's tweak it a bit. Or, I like where this is headed, just turn your tongue a little more to the side. These gentle adjustments keep the mood light and collaborative rather than critical. Remember that communication extends beyond the bedroom. Share a private message in the afternoon. I can't wait to try that thing we talked about last night. Afterward, debrief in the glow of afterglow. That was amazing. Thank you for being so open. Can we do more of that next time? Over time, these small check-ins build a robust feedback loop that not only elevates your intimate life, but strengthens emotional intimacy too. You become partners in exploration, not just passengers along a well-worn path. As you grow more comfortable with verbal cues, you might even invent your own shorthand. A light tap signals speed up. A brush of the fingertips along the collarbone means attention here. A soft hum conveys pure delight. This personal code speeds up the flow of communication, allowing you to focus more on pleasure and less on direction. Whenever life pressures, work deadlines, family demands, health worries threaten to isolate you, return to this foundation of conversation. Schedule a communication date, a relaxed check-in where you talk about what's working, what could improve, and what fantasies are waiting in the wings. By giving each other explicit permission to speak honestly and listen wholeheartedly, you fortify your bond against routine and disconnection. In the end, the best intimacy isn't about perfect technique or impenetrable expertise. It's the thrill of mutual discovery. Every whispered prompt, every guided touch, every enthusiastic affirmation draws you closer, forging a connection that no amount of practiced choreography could ever achieve. So keep talking, keep listening, and keep exploring. You'll find that the power of conversation truly is the greatest turn-on of all. Picture yourself leaning back on a soft mattress or a cozy rug with your thighs parted, heart fluttering, and breath already catching. Your partner's face hovers just above your pelvis, their warm breath teasing your skin. This isn't about a checklist of fancy moves or mastering every viral tutorial. It's about a shared focus on that most sensitive button beneath the hood, the tiny nub that lights every nerve around it on fire. Start with feather-light kisses tracing the outer lips, letting gentle warmth build trust and anticipation. Slowly fan your tongue along the inner folds, experimenting with both broad strokes and pinpoint flicks, so your partner can guide you with soft moans, sighs, or even a whispered, "right there." As they edge closer to release, they may hover on the brink, breathing rapidly, chest rising and falling. This is the art of edging, bringing them to the verge of climax, then easing off just enough to extend the pleasure. Each time you draw back, you deepen the final rush when you finally let them cross the finish line. Communication is everything. If you hear softer, ease your pressure. If the response is a shaky more, don't hesitate to press your tongue firmly against that sensitive nub, then swirl it in gentle circles. Encourage your partner to speak up and praise each small correction. "That feels incredible," or "stay just like that." These positive cues boost confidence and make the experience feel collaborative, not critical. Don't rush past the broader landscape of her vulva. Sprinkle soft kisses along the inner thighs, blow warm air onto the pelvis, or tease the outer lips before returning to the central button. Those inner thigh kisses can send shivers up the spine, while gentle nibbles along the pelvic curve awaken the entire region. Some partners love a finger or two joining the party palm up, fingers curved, sliding just inside the entrance to press gently on that fleshy ridge. If she's comfortable, synchronized tongue and fingertip pressure can bring her to multiple waves of release, sometimes 3, 4, or even 5 climaxes in one session. As she rides each wave, she might grip the back of your head, Grind gently against your mouth or arch her hips, urging you to follow her rhythm. Let her movements guide you. If she shifts her pelvis downward, match it with a firmer push upward. When she lifts her hips, raise your head, maintaining full contact. Your eyes can meet briefly, sending silent encouragement, then drop back to the task at hand. You can also introduce playful detours, a stray fingertip tracing her navel, a quick brush of her nipples with the back of your hand, or a gentle tickle behind her knees to catch her off guard. Every unexpected sensation heightens the main act by contrast. As you build toward that final crescendo, notice how her breathing stutters, how her hips quiver, how every muscle tightens. Keep your tongue busy, alternating between rapid flicks and languid licks, so she never quite knows what's coming next. If her pelvic arch grows strong, follow it. If she presses her fingertip against your forehead, let her guide your pace. When she finally lets go, she may clench around your fingers, cry out softly, and tremble for seconds or even a full minute. Stay present. Don't pull away too soon. Glide your tongue softly in soothing circles afterward, whispering words of praise. You were amazing. Thank you for trusting me. This aftercare prolongs the glow and reassures her that your focus is on her pleasure, not just the goal of climax. Over time, you'll learn her unique tempo, when she loves slow, feather-light teasing versus when she craves firmer, more insistent pressure. You'll discover if she likes temperature play, perhaps an ice cube pressed briefly against her clit stalk, or a drop of warm oil gliding across her lips. You'll notice whether she prefers your tongue flat and broad or curled like a hook, teasing the underside of the hood. The real magic comes when technique blends with genuine connection, when your touch says, "I want you," and her response says, "I trust you." In that space, front door mouth play becomes less an act and more a conversation without words, a dance of tongues, lips, sighs, and sighs again, leading both of you into a landscape of shared discovery. There are no rigid rules, no failure states, just two people exploring, adjusting, listening, and delighting in every shiver, every moan, every whispered instruction. And in that openness, you'll find pleasure so profound that no routine will ever feel routine again. Over the years, we've discovered that a man's body and his response to intimate touch changes in subtle yet meaningful ways. What thrilled him in his 20s may shift in his 40s, 50s, or beyond. Recognizing this isn't about assigning blame or feeling self-conscious. It's simply part of growing together. Open communication remains as vital here as it is everywhere else in a relationship. When you lean in to give your partner mouth-to-skin attention, start by asking, "How does this feel?" Or saying, "Let me know if you'd like me softer, slower, or firmer." These simple prompts invite him to guide you without guilt or pressure, turning each encounter into a collaborative exploration, rather than a one-sided performance. One of the first adjustments you might notice is that he takes longer to reach his peak, and may produce less semen than he once did. Rather than seeing this as a drawback, consider it an opportunity to extend pleasure through a variety of sensations. Begin by incorporating gentle nipple play. A soft pinch, a slow twist, or a circular rub can send surprising waves of enjoyment up through his torso. His chest bumps are often overlooked, yet they're packed with nerve endings waiting to be aroused. When you combine a firm mouth around his shaft with a playful tug on his nipples, you create an exquisite tension that both teases and comforts. Don't neglect the power of the back door. If you both feel comfortable and he feels clean, a fingertip or two gently pressing against his anal opening can heighten his experience dramatically. Use plenty of lubrication and go slowly, allowing his sphincter to respond in its own time. Many men report that an internal prostate massage, reached by curling your finger in a come-here motion just inside the passage, produces intense, full-body pleasure during orgasm. Couple this with rhythmic tongue strokes around his frenulum, the sensitive band beneath the head of the penis, and you'll discover depths of sensation he may never have known. Experiment with tongue placement. Some men love a wide, flat sweep around the helmet, while others prefer a hooked flick along the underside. Alternate between gentle, teasing licks and firmer, pulsing suction. The contrast keeps nerves primed and anticipation high. At the same time, keep your hand busy. Grip the base of his shaft tightly, matching your mouth's up and down motion with your strokes. This synchronized dance minimizes friction in any single spot and allows you to vary the focus and pressure with ease. When your mouth takes a brief pause, let your hand continue. Or vice versa. This mingling of methods sustains excitement and relieves jaw fatigue. Pay attention to temperature play as well. A cool fingertip along the shaft, followed by warm breath, can feel electrifying. Whisper softly as you shift between techniques. "That's incredible. Just like that," or "Tell me if you want more here." His verbal feedback, combined with subtle cues like a tightening grip around your hair, a soft moan, or a rhythmic buck of his hips, will guide you to his personal sweet spots. Eye contact elevates the intimacy. When your eyes meet his, you're affirming trust and connection. Look up at him occasionally, even if only for a heartbeat, letting him see the pleasure in your own expression. Then return your focus to the task at hand, marrying eye contact and mouth play into a seamless, affirming loop. Keep in mind that as men age or face health challenges, whether it's medications that affect sensitivity or surgeries that change nerve pathways, they may need additional encouragement. When something feels different or less intense for him, resist the urge to apologize or gloss over it. Instead, say, "I love being close to you," and ask, "What can I do to make this feel even better?" This kind of positive, problem-solving attitude strengthens intimacy and reminds both of you that pleasure is a joint venture, not an individual competition. After he reaches climax, don't rush away. Gentle aftercare-like soft strokes along the length of his penis, a few lingering kisses on his lower belly, or a warm embrace while murmuring your appreciation prolongs the post-orgasmic glow. It reassures him that you value the entire experience, not just the end result. Over time, you'll tune into his unique rhythms. You'll learn whether firm suction on the head or light flicks along the underside bring him closer to release, whether a certain angle under the hood makes his breath catch, and how his breathing patterns shift as he nears orgasm. You might discover that a brief pause letting everything linger heightens his eventual release, just as edging does for many women. The key is to stay curious, to treat each encounter as an opportunity to learn something new about the two of you. Whenever life's distractions, work stress, family demands, health concerns threaten to dim the flame, return to these basics. Schedule a quiet moment, free from screens and interruptions, and simply ask, "Is there something different you'd like me to try?" Or share a fantasy you've been hesitant to voice. By regularly refreshing this dialogue, you keep your sex life dynamic and sensitive to each other's evolving needs. Remember, there are no rigid rules or grades here, just two people committed to giving and receiving pleasure with creativity, compassion, and respect. As you fine-tune your technique, you'll find that the art of mouth-to-skin attention on him becomes less about mastering a series of steps and more about cultivating a conversation of touches, sighs, and shared smiles. In that space of mutual trust and genuine exploration, you'll uncover depths of pleasure that no set of instructions could ever fully capture. In any relationship, the thrill of discovery need not end once you've mastered your go-to techniques. In fact, the greatest pleasure can come from charting new territories together, always keeping consent, curiosity, and mutual respect front and center. It starts with an open invitation. Is there something you've been curious about trying? Framing it that way makes exploration feel like a shared adventure rather than a test. You might begin by browsing a trusted website or book together, reading different ideas and laughing over the most outlandish-sounding positions before zeroing in on the ones that excite you both. Whether it's a playful new angle, a novel sequence of touches, or the introduction of a tasteful toy, the key is that you decide together where to go next. One couple might decide to test a simple prop, like a silk scarf, using it first as a blindfold. As soon as one partner's sight is obscured, every other sense, touch, taste, smell, sound, sharpens in exhilarating ways. The person wearing the scarf might find that a feather tickle or a single dribble of warmed massage oil elicits reactions they never knew they had. Once the sense of anticipation builds, you can invite them to guide your hand, prompting them to whisper, "Over here," or "Try that." Their vocal cues become part of an evolving language of pleasure. If you both feel comfortable, you could advance to light bondage wrapping wrists gently in the scarf, or using purpose-made soft restraints. Again, you agree on a safe word to ensure that curiosity never tramples comfort. In this scenario, one partner surrenders small bits of control while the other learns to read every flinch, sigh, and muscular shift. The power exchange heightens arousal precisely because trust is paramount. Afterward, you debrief what felt amazing, what felt too intense. That conversation sharpens your sensitivity for next time. Another path of exploration might involve temperature play. You could prepare 2 small bowls, one filled with warm water, the other with ice water, and alternate a wet fingertip or a cooled metal toy across various parts of the body. Try the inner wrist, the lower belly, the inner thigh, always watching your partner's reaction. A gasp at the sudden chill can be just as electrifying as the comforting warmth that follows. As you switch back and forth, ask, "Do you prefer hot first or cold?" That simple question keeps you both engaged and responsive. Sometimes novelty comes from revisiting an old technique with a fresh twist. For example, if you routinely practice front door mouth play, add a secondary stimulus, perhaps a curved toy gently applied internally while your lips and tongue focus externally. Many people discover that the combination of 2 simultaneous sensations produces a depth of pleasure they'd never encountered alone. This approach demands steady hands, clear verbal feedback, and careful pacing, but the rewards can be profound. Always have extra lubrication on hand and pause immediately if any discomfort arises. On the flip side, you might explore backdoor stimulation together. If one partner expresses curiosity, agree on rigorous hygiene. Shower, use gloves if desired, apply copious lube, and start with a single well-lubricated fingertip. Go slowly, asking, "Is that pressure okay?" And, "Would you like me to hold here or move gently?" Once trust is established, you can experiment with a 3-finger come-hither curl aimed at stimulating the prostate. Feedback is crucial. Some men report a breathtaking surge of full-body pleasure when the prostate is massaged at the right angle and pace. Others find it simply interesting or even prefer to keep it out of their routine. Either answer is valid. Don't overlook the power of extended foreplay. You might designate an entire evening to extended mutual massage, using scented oils and focusing on areas often ignored, shoulders, lower back, behind the knees, before any direct genital attention. As muscles relax, erotic tension builds naturally. Encourage your partner to map your body with their hands, saying, "Here feels amazing," or "Try over here." That same dynamic of guided touch and responsive listening carries over seamlessly into more intimate acts. If you both enjoy a playful challenge, you can try edging as a joint exercise. One partner brings the other close to climax using mouth or hand, then stops at the threshold. Pause, kiss tenderly, switch roles, and repeat. Each return to that boundary heightens arousal, and the final release, when it does arrive, often feels richer and more expansive. Throughout, maintain verbal reassurance. "You're driving me wild," or "Let me know when you're ready for more." Even a short break for a glass of water before the next round can extend the marathon of pleasure. For those open to experimenting with light risk, always within agreed boundaries, consider introducing a low-powered vibrator. Attach it to a partner's most sensitive area during mouth play, or explore using it on erogenous zones like the perineum or nipples. Begin on the lowest setting, then let your partner signal if they want a higher intensity. Because buzz and pressure differ, combining gentle thrusting with vibration often creates a unique symphony of sensation. Watch their face for signs of delight or overwhelm, and always remain ready to power down or remove the device. Throughout every new venture, remember that a pause for conversation is not a killjoy, it's your compass. After a session, share what thrilled you, what surprised you, and what you'd tweak next time. These debriefings can happen in bed, over coffee the next morning, or even via a quick text during the day. Still thinking about last night? You had me on cloud 9 when partners feel safe to express both praise and critique, intimacy blossoms. Ultimately, the joy of exploration lies not in ticking off a bucket list of erotic experiences, but in the ongoing co-creation of pleasure. Each new path you choose, be it sensory deprivation, temperature contrasts, light bondage, or prostate play, is guided by mutual consent and affection. You learn that your partner's body is a dynamic landscape, always shifting, always ripe for fresh approaches. And you discover that the most potent aphrodisiac is the knowledge that you're exploring intimately together. side by side, hand in hand, heart in heart. Over the years, we've built a life full of routines, coming home after work, wrangling school schedules, paying bills, walking the dog, and planning vacations. Those daily rhythms can easily tip into autopilot, and if we're not careful, our intimate connection drifts into the background alongside dentist appointments and grocery runs. Yet that very predictability can become a blessing when handled with intention. By weaving small gestures of affection into ordinary moments and unexpected lunchtime texts saying, "Can't wait to kiss you goodnight," or brushing a fingertip along your partner's back while you chop vegetables, you remind each other that desire lives in the everyday as well as the extraordinary. Making time for intimacy doesn't always mean carving out a 2-hour window on Saturday night. It can be a 5-minute pillow talk before sleep, whispering, "What would make you happy right now?" Or a quick walk around the block holding hands and talking about nothing in particular. These mini rituals build trust and anticipation, keeping your emotional bond supple enough to respond spontaneously when the right moment arises. You learn to read each other's subtle signal, show a certain look across the table can mean, "I want you," or how a relaxed sigh on the sofa signals readiness for a slow, lingering kiss. Life throws curveballs, illness, job stress, aging bodies, or the sheer exhaustion of parenting toddlers or caring for aging parents. When those challenges press in, it's tempting to view intimacy as a nice-to-have rather than a must-have. But in truth, when life feels heavy, closeness becomes a lifeline, a warm washcloth on your partner's forehead, a soothing foot massage after a long shift, or a shared bath with scented bubbles can renew the sense that you're facing the storm as a team. These acts of care remind you both that your needs still matter, even when the world outside demands all your energy. Communication remains the bedrock. Schedule a regular temperature check where you sit together. No phones, no distractions, and honestly share what's working and what's grown stale. Maybe you miss the playful teasing of your early years, or perhaps you crave more eye contact during intimate moments. Frame your desires positively. "I'd love it if we tried that candlelit shower again," or "I really enjoy when you whisper praises in my ear." When feedback is offered with respect and received without defensiveness, it opens a channel for continuous growth. As our bodies change, so do our preferences. What thrilled you in your 20s might feel different in your 40s or 50s, and that's okay. Perhaps he needs slower strokes and softer light, or she prefers a warmer room and extra lubrication. Instead of comparing to a mental standard of before, treat each change as an invitation to explore new avenues of pleasure. Try adjusting positions, introducing a silk scarf for sensory play, or experimenting with gentle temperature contrasts. A drop of warm oil followed by an ice cube can feel electrifying. Always keep consent front and center. Pause, ask, "Is this comfortable?" and let your partner guide you. Technology can be an ally in sustaining desire. A midday message, just thinking about you in that dress, can spark a blush and a flutter of energy that lasts until bedtime. Sharing a discreet photo, if you have a trusted, secure channel, or a playful voice memo can awaken anticipation. These digital breadcrumbs remind you both that you're not just roommates sharing chores, but lovers with an ongoing story. Don't underestimate the power of shared hobbies to keep you close. Cooking a new recipe together becomes an opportunity for touch testing the sauce with a finger, feeding each other bites, or a segue into a spontaneous dance in the kitchen. A partner yoga session or a short walk through nature can prime your bodies and minds for intimacy by releasing tension and fostering teamwork. Each activity you undertake side by side reinforces the message that you're collaborators in life and in passion. Financial worries, health setbacks, or family drama can dampen libido, but a ritual of non-sexual touch morning cuddles, a back rub while watching TV, or simply holding palms during your bedtime prayer or meditation keeps the channel of connection open. Those safe, affectionate gestures signal that you're still attuned to each other's presence, paving the way for desire to resurface naturally when the moment is right. Every few months, consider planning a getaway for two, even if it's just an afternoon picnic in a nearby park. The simple act of carving out space away from routine no children, no laptops gives you the freedom to reconnect as a couple rather than co-managers of a household. Pack a blanket, a favorite snack, and maybe a small bottle of wine. Let conversation flow or simply lie side by side, watching the clouds as you rediscover each other's bodies and dreams away from daily pressures. In the end, the secret to a lasting, passionate connection is not a formula, but a mindset. The willingness to treat one another as the greatest adventure of your life, worthy of constant exploration. By keeping communication alive through words, touches, texts, and shared experiences, you create a living tapestry of love that adapts as you both evolve. The spark you felt on your first date need not blaze forever, but it can glow warmly through decades when you commit to tending it with care, curiosity, and unending gratitude.